What's going on, guys? CTG Matt back. I've created a panic meter on TierMaker for every NBA team. We're about, 12 games in now for some teams, and we're getting a general sense of what these teams are going to be about this year, or like what their identity is going to be, and some teams still haven't found it yet. That's very clear. So I made this panic meter to kind of rank teams based on how their fan base, in my opinion, should feel about the first 12 games and where they feel as though their season should end up. You look at the tiers, you see get to shelter, which basically means run, duck, hide, panic. Surely they get hot, right? This one's more like a oh boy, this is a little bit, we're teetering here. Then you got one more move. This is a team where it's like you shouldn't panic because you know there's probably one more move in the tank that makes you puts you over the top. Tanking, I mean, that's pretty straightforward. If you're tanking, you don't have any pressure. There is no panic in the face of a Washington Wizards fan. Why would you panic? And then cool as ice. That's a contending team that doesn't really have any worries. It's a team that started off strong, and maybe they have some expectations, maybe not, but they've started off strong, and the fans are able to kick their feet back and just enjoy what's going on with the team. We're starting off with the Milwaukee Bucks. Oh my God, it's been disastrous, to say the least. I love Giannis. 50 burger the other night. It was fun as hell to watch. He started out with 22 in the first quarter, and I just kind of knew it was happening. He scored 22 of their first 24 points. That's not good. As much as I love Giannis, and I love to see players score outrageous points, scoring 22 of your team's first 24 just isn't healthy for a team aspect. And the guys that they've brought in that I thought would be like great depth pieces have been far worse than I imagined. Gary Trent Jr., until I think the last game against Detroit, I don't know if he hit a three. He's been pitiful, really bad. Brook Lopez was their second leading scorer behind Giannis the other night. DeLon Wright lost his starting job just his job in general to AJ Green, and Andre Jackson got moved in. I mean, Gary Trent Jr. lost his starting spot to Andre Jackson technically, but DeLon Wright's lost minutes. I thought DeLon Wright was a good signing for them. Doc Rivers. Why? I don't know how he keeps getting away with this. That man does not deserve another coaching opportunity. But the Bucks are going to fire him. They're not going to fire him, actually. That report came out saying that they're closer to making another trade to bolster the roster, closer than they are to firing Doc Rivers. When you have Giannis, it's hard for me to say to panic all the way, but when it is literally just Giannis right now, and you're hoping that the savior of your season is Chris Middleton at 35 coming off 2 ankle surgeries, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, that's lofty expectations for Chris Middleton to come back from 2 ankle surgeries, fit into the scheme of this offense with Doc Rivers, Darvin Ham as your top 2 coaches, and just play in this team setting. I mean, Dame still hasn't even figured out how to play in a team setting with them yet. How am I supposed to expect Chris to step in and do it? Brooklyn Nets, they're tanking. Well, they're not tanking. They're like in the realm. I told you before the season, I made a video about the fun teams in the league this year, and they were one of them. I had the Brooklyn Nets as one of the most fun teams in the league this year, and so far they've been so fun to watch. It is a plethora of guys who are getting buckets for them. Zaire Williams had a great game against Boston the other night. Cam Thomas before that had a great game. Nick Claxton's still great defensively. Cam Johnson's had some big games. Dorian Finney-Smith's been all right. Day'Ron Sharpe has been all right. Justin Wilson's been okay. Not really. But the Nets are in a fine spot where they can just chill for a season. They have their own first-round pick. They're able to just kind of hang back. If it works out and they end up making an 8-seed run, which they can because the East has been terrible, that'd be fun. But if they were to trade all their assets at midseason and decide, you know what, we're good with winning, 14 games this year, and then they cash out, again, nothing wrong with that. You can get picks for Cam, you can get picks for Doe, you can get picks for Dennis, you can get picks for, guys like that. You don't have to hold them. So, yeah, the Nets are just in a fun spot, and I enjoy watching them. Shout out to Zaire Williams. New York Knicks. I'm not as panicked about the Knicks as I am about the Bucks because at least their offense looks good. Like, Cat has been amazing. As much flack as Cat gets for being basically a revolving door at the rim, which he is. He's an awful defensive big man. But for as much flack as he gets, he's been super good offensively, and I think that kind of supplements it. Like I said, although he really does stink in the paint, and opponents are shooting like 91% on the rim against him, you know, offensively, he just makes it up. He had 40 the other night, and he got hurt, but he'd been on the best offensive run maybe of his career before that. So it's hard to say, like, conclusive that it's over for them, because they still have Mitchell Robinson coming back, and I know Mitch always gets hurt, but by God, if Mitchell Robinson can pull together, you know, and be healthy the rest of this season and just be the defensive anchor that he always has been, not a defensive anchor, but like a good rim protector, I'm sure this team would hit a hot streak. And that's why I have them here. Surely they get hot, because once Mitch comes back, you're hoping Cat slides to the 4, because he's always been a better 4. And then, yeah, now you're back to running, you know, a usual lineup where Cat's at the 4 and Mitch is at the 5, and now you have the ability to defend in the paint, along with Karl-Anthony Towns still being on a really great run for his career, a run that I haven't seen from Cat in a while, where it's like 30 every other night. Toronto Raptors tanking. Again, fun young team. Shout out Mogbo. Shout out Jamal Shed. Shout out Grady Dick. Shout out Scott Barn, of course, although he's missed some time. Shout out Jakob Poeltl. Love what Jakob Poeltl's been doing this season. If they want to move him, he might be a good little value piece for any team that's missing a center at midseason. Looking right at you, Boston. They don't have the money for him. But Jakob Poeltl's been really impressive for Toronto this season. They just get production out of guys, and it hasn't been that ugly. Like I said, the East is terrible, so they're getting wins when they can. And sadly enough, they could have 4 wins right now, and they'd probably be in a play-in spot. So although the East is shit, the Toronto Raptors have been a fun little tanking team that's had some fun games, though. Why is the Utah Jazz? I hate that the Utah Jazz logo is so big. Kyle Filipowski had a great game last night. Hopefully his disgusting individual girlfriend was happy for him. I just know she was. Shout out Mormon, Utah. They suck, though. And the one player that I was really excited to see try and take a year 2 jump was Taylor Hendricks, and he's already gone. So Colin Sexton's been fun to watch. Colin Sexton in that game last night against the Mavs literally slapped Luka so hard you could hear it. Like, you could hear it over the rim mic, basically, that he clean slapped him in the arm. And he got called for a foul, and Colin immediately was like, What? I didn't foul him. Bro, I could hear the slap over the audio. I don't know. I like Young Bull, but this team is just not very good, and they know that. I also had a prop where I took Lowry's over on points per game this year, thinking that him being like comfortable and knowing he's not going to get traded would help him in his game. It would help him kind of, you know, relieve some pressure knowing that he's not a trade candidate. Nah, he's been pretty bad this year, so, you know, that's a bad prop. So, that's tough. Utah's going to lose me some money. Shout out Utah. Shout out Mormon, Utah. All right, up next, we got the Houston Rockets, who I honestly, you know what? This is going to sound weird. I haven't watched a ton of their games. I'm not sure what to really expect out of them. I don't know. Maybe I think I should create another row just for the Houston Rockets. I'm going to put Houston Rockets in expectations were not high. Let me move my camera back. The reason that I'm putting them there is because there really weren't many expectations for Houston to start the year. And they've had a really solid start, albeit, like I said, I haven't caught a ton of their games because I don't know why. I don't know. Every time I feel like I'm going to turn on a Houston Rockets game, I don't like their commentary. Maybe that helps. Not the biggest fan of Ryan Hollins, but yeah, they've been pretty good. Alp's been pretty good. Jalen Green has been fun, to say the least. Jalen Green is an experience, man. You're either going to get 23, 2, or 3, or 2 for 23. So, you know, Jalen Green is quite the experience, but Alp's been great. He dunked on somebody. I forget who it was the other day. Shout out Alp, but mostly shout out to Amen Thompson and Tari Eason. If you know, you know. My last video, I talked about Tari Eason at length. I love Tari Eason. And him and Amen Thompson are an incredible duo. They will pick your pocket, block you at the rim. Just a crazy defensive duo that I love to see on the court. NOP, New Orleans Pelicans. Yeah, no. They're panicking. The season's damn near over, and it just started. I mean, we're like 12 games in, and their season's dead already. It's a tough spot for Pelicans fans. I feel sorry for them. But DeJounte's hurt. You know, Zion's hurt. The one guy I was excited for to have a breakout season in Jordan Hawkins is hurt. That was the breakout I was expecting. You know, just Jose Alvarado got hurt. They have nobody. Brandon Boston was starting. Jeremiah Robinson Earl was starting. Yves Missi was starting, even though I like Yves Missi. Yves has provided some good minutes for them. I like what he's bringing to the table. But everyone's hurt. And now we're at the point where the season might be over before it even really started. And it's got me questioning, what are we doing here? You know, I'm not sure what to say about them. Do they just sell it? I have no idea. I don't, I'm going to go out on a limb and just say this. When I watch Zion play, even when he was healthy, Zion doesn't look like the same Zion from a few years back. He just doesn't even look like a first option at times.
Yeah, it's sad when they go young like that. When they go?
And I don't know, I'm starting to lean on get rid of the asset before it expires. I kind of view Zion's game as like milk right now. It's fresh, it's great, but in like 2 years, do you really want to see that milk again? Not really. I don't know. I'm so out on the Pelicans, and if they could have just stayed healthy, I've made them a fun, interesting team that I said before the season as well, simply because of the fact that it's like they had no center. Herb was supposed to be the center. Instead, Herb doesn't play center. But none of their starters even play anymore. They're all hurt. So, I don't know. Hit the panic meter. You're probably already in the bunker, though, if you're a Pelicans fan. I didn't need to tell you that. The Lakers. I'm going to put expectations for me personally. I didn't have high expectations for the Lakers this year. I really didn't. I viewed it as the same old roster as last year, and they were pretty bad last year. So I kind of viewed it as they didn't do anything, and they expected to get better. Although, this season they're 7-4 right now. So that's pretty good for them. And they won. I think they won that game against Memphis. Hold on, we can go to that real quick. Yeah, they ended up winning that game against Memphis in a game where Anthony Davis had foul trouble and struggled after the first half. LeBron has been just, man, that guy defies all expectations. I could put them in one more move. I feel I'm gonna put them in one more move actually, because there should be one more move. D'Angelo Russell. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What the hell do you even say about D'Lo? I can't stand him, man. He seems like a great dude. It's nothing personal against him, but man, does he frustrate the ever-loving hell out of me. Get in a defensive stance. He plays like an idiot sometimes. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Sometimes he just plays like an idiot, chucking threes and not playing any defense. I remember in that game against the Grizzlies, Connect started to get hot. And Connect was cooking that game. He had a couple of three. He hit that corner three that was real tough. Connect was cooking. And then the very next possession, Connect is standing next to D'Lo, clapping to try and get the ball, and D'Lo decides step back three. That's frustrating. Beyond frustrating. I hate his thought processing. I hate his play style at times. It's just volume. Defense is atrocious. Remember when he said he wanted to be like Derek White? He's a liar. You're nothing like Derek White. I think if the Lakers fans were asked, would you rather have D'Angelo Russell or Derek White? I think I know who they're taking. Chicago Bulls. Expectations were not high, but I'm having fun. After the first 3 games, I was like, dude, this is disgusting. What the hell is Billy Donovan doing? And then they picked up the pace. Literally, they started running. They became the fastest paced team in the NBA, and they started winning games that way. Kobe White. I love Kobe White. Don't ever trade Kobe White from Chicago. I want to see him just be there. I love Kobe White. Zach LaVine had a great game the other night. Pat Williams, disappointing as per usual. But Vooch has been amazing. Giddey's been fine. Hit a free throw, Josh Giddey, please. But this team has been the definition of a fun team to start the year. And I think I had them in fun team as well, because I saw them as a team that should be running. It should be playing at a high pace. And it took them like a week. But they finally learned that if they get out on transition, they're a dangerous team. Shout out to the Bulls, man. Minnesota, they're going to sit right next to each other because, the comparisons are always going to be there, and neither one of them started off particularly well, I'd say. Minnesota, I don't know what to do about them. They look like they struggle to score at times. Like, they were playing a dredge game the other night. Let me go find that score from the other night. 6-6, fitting at 500. They didn't even score 100 last game against Portland. Then against the Heat, they didn't score 100. So, at times it's the offense that isn't scoring. Anthony Edwards has been fine. I like Ant-Man. I think Dilly, if you can't score, you need to put Dillingham in. I know he's a defensive minus, and he's probably always going to be. But, man, if you need scoring, stop running Mike Conley. Mike Conley not getting you buckets. He had a really... So, The one game I took Mike Conley unders, it was that game against, I think, the Spurs, where he had his best game of the season. Yeah, annoying as that is, I still love Mikey Cool, but if you can't score, put in Dilly. That's literally what he got drafted for, was to get buckets. Now, Ant's talking about when the coaches give us the strategy or whatever. The coaches give us the answers, and we haven't figured it out yet, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I mean, I don't hate it, but both of these teams have started off relatively yucky, and I'm looking at both of these teams going, one of you's got to get hot, right? You know, Julius Randle, if he's not scoring, does nothing. That's just about it. And, you know, Jaden McDaniels hasn't been great. Rudy Gobert is Rudy Gobert. You know what you're going to get. But he shouted out RFK the other day, and for that, I hate you. But Rudy Gobert is Rudy Gobert. You know that. But the rest of the team is just gross at times, and Dante still hasn't found a shot. You know, the Timberwolves just aren't right now. It doesn't look like they have an identity either. You know, last season it was this buckle in, we're strapping you to the floor defense. You know, you aren't getting free shots up, and now their defense is like more laxed. It's not as good, and so that's costing them games as well. They don't know if they're an offensive team or a defensive team, and Julius Randle specifically, again, like I said, if he's not scoring, he really isn't giving them much. At least Cat's a good screener. Julius Randle, not so much. Portland, tanking. But Klingen. I love Klingen. Man. This kid has some special qualities about him. It looks like they got a good pick. Robert Williams, man. I'm a super fan of Robert Williams, and I will be until he hangs up the basketball shoes, you know? Until he hangs up the Nikes. I don't know. Until he hangs them up, Robert Williams will be one of my favorite players in basketball, and he had a terrific game against Minnesota the other night. Yammed on Jaden McDaniels, yammed on someone else, had a couple of dunks, a sick block or two. You got great points and good production out of Robert Williams. You know, I love that guy. Their center rotation is weird. It's ugly. It's packed, log-jammed almost. Anthony Simons hasn't been terrific, but Shaedon Sharpe, you know, I missed watching Shaedon Sharpe hoop, and Scoot Henderson's been not taking the jump that I want to see, but also not playing horribly bad where I'm like, this guy's a bust. You know what I mean? It's somewhere in the middle. And I hope he could just kind of level off and figure it out. Even if it's not a great plane, I just kind of want to see him plateau. Because right now, it's literally this. And I don't know what to expect on a game-to-game basis out of him. So he needs to find some type of average and try and plateau himself, I guess. So if I made this video last week, or 2 weeks ago, it'd be this. However, today, one more move. You know, I think they just have one more in them. Yoke is playing probably the best basketball I've seen, like maybe ever, out of a player. I'm not even trying to exaggerate. Yoke might be on the greatest individual stretch I've seen out of a player in my life. Not much more I could say about it other than that. You know, Jamal Murray hasn't been on really. I love Jamal. You know, Blue Arrow. He ain't been on it this year. But their 3-point percentage has gone right back up to their norm. They're hitting their threes again. And who'd have thought? Once the team starts hitting their threes, including Jokic, who's shooting over 40% from three, which is a pleasant surprise. But once the team starts hitting their threes, guess what? Their winning goes right back up. They're still that same team. Christian Brown, man. Go watch that video about underrated role players. I talked about Christian Brown at length. That guy has some really good flashes where I'm very impressed by his play. Defensively, he's a hawk. And then P. Watt defensively made a couple of game-saving plays, even though he's pretty bad still offensively. You know, if he makes some really great plays defensively. But yeah, I still think there's one more move left in the tank. That bench is still just bad. I love Jokic and he's playing spectacular basketball, but that bench is just bad. You know, maybe they go, I saw Bleacher Report said maybe they go get Cody Martin or something like that. That's not bad. Get you another bench wing. You know, they need wings especially, or a big, probably both. Thunder, cool as ice. You know, we're fine. It sucks Steph Curry owns you in your building as well, because Steph Curry owns the Celtics in our building as well. So, you know. I mean, they're 10-2 and they don't even have a center. Ihart's hurt. Chet's done for a while. Dwight Howard's trying to get to Dwight Howard and Kevin Garnett are trying to get him, Dwight Howard specifically, back into the NBA to go play center for them. Stop. I hate this begging. Dwight Howard and Isaiah Thomas are hoping for a plane crash so they can get free jobs or something. I don't know. But they don't have any big minutes, and they're still 10-2, leading the West. There's no panic in anybody's face, you know. They've looked good. Memphis. I didn't have expectations very high. I know people who thought Memphis would be a top 5 seed, and I didn't see that. But I did see a play-in team at worst, you know. That was their floor, was play-in for me. And they've been fine so far. Jay Huff, reverse dunk god. Scottie Pippen Jr. had a triple-double, you know. Ja's hurt right now, and they still played good-ish basketball. You know, they struggled down the stretch versus the Lakers. Like, struggled. And they couldn't stop LeBron because they don't have many wings. That's their big issue right now, is they don't have athletic wings. At first, they had Jalen Wells guarding him. Too small. Then they tried Marcus Smart. Too small. Jake LaRavia. Too small. You know, Jaren Jackson fouls a ton. You know, so they just don't have any wings to stop a big wing. And that's their biggest issue. That's what my big worry was, is that I didn't think they'd be good enough to get stops defensively. They've been fine defensively, don't get me wrong. Their bench has been really good. But overall, I just don't see the talent level there to really see them as a contender right now. Dallas, ooh boy, do I put them up here? Nah, no, because their shooting's just been bad. PJ Washington can't hit a shot. Spencer Dinwiddie can't hit a shot. Jaden Hardy can't hit a shot. Najee Marshall's been good. Klay Thompson's in the middle. The one thing that they can't do, rebound the ball. Opponents are averaging like 12, 13 offensive rebounds a night against them, I think. Hold on. Yep, opponent offensive rebounds. Dallas Mavericks, 13 per game. That's the third worst in basketball. Of course, there's OKC right there. There's a big difference, though. OKC, when you're 10-2, gets overlooked that the other team's killing you on the glass. Dallas here at maybe sub 500 right now, are they? Yep, 5-7. Yeah, it's a completely different outlook, even though they're both bad rebounding teams. Kyrie's been their best offensive player so far this year, you know? So, I don't know. I think there's still a chance that they get hot and do stuff. Last night was hilarious. I'm sorry, last night killed me with Derek Lively putting up 5 fouls in 10 minutes of game time. What the hell were you doing? But yeah, with Kyrie being their best offensive player, that's definitely not something you want to see. And you need to hope Luka locks in, dude. Luka's been horrible. He was my MVP pick. Maybe it's my curse. Did I curse him? But he was my MVP pick, and he has been very underwhelming to me, at least. Especially defensively. Oh my God, especially defensively. Bro, can you lock in for 5 seconds on defense? I'm talking one possession. That is 24 seconds of being in a stance and paying attention to your surroundings. He can't do that. I don't know. He was my MVP pick, like I said, so you can't call me a damn hater. I said he was a top 5 player in the NBA, and he still is. But by God, brother, get into a defensive stance before I lose my mind. Spurs. Expectations weren't high. Wemby had 50. That's fun, but the team is like mid, and nobody really cares. I think they are 500. Yeah, 500. So nobody really cares. You know what I mean? Like, they're the 10 seed right now, and that's fine. Suns. You know, cool as ice or one more move? Cool as ice, one more move. Which one? Hold on. I'm going to put, you know what? I'm putting them in cool as ice, even though I still think that they need more big men because Yusuf Nurkic is just bad. I've been a Yusuf Nurkic doubter for a very long time. I will continue to be a Yusuf Nurkic doubter for a very long time. However, the Phoenix Suns have still been good, even though the other night with KD out for a little bit, I don't know if I'm ready to panic, but it definitely leaves a hole. And if Josh Okogie is going to put up 27, do you really need Kevin Durant? No, I'm just kidding. Yes, you do need Kevin Durant. But Josh Okogie was fantastic the other night. But if you can hold off this stretch without KD and stay above water, afloat, you're 9-3 right now, I think. If you could stay above 500, by the time KD gets back, you're in a fine spot. Of course, this time without KD is the biggest tell-all for the team. But, you got to get through it. And you still have Bradley Beal and Devin Booker and Tyus Jones and a bunch of guys that Ryan Dunn, a bunch of guys that are contributing for you. Royce specifically has been great. Just troop through this time without KD. And by the time he's back, you'll be right back to being at the top of the standings again. You just have to kind of grind through this time. Clippers, expectations weren't high. They've been pleasantly okay. You know, I don't love what they're doing because it is just treading water and hoping Kawhi comes back and changes everything. I don't like that because putting a lot of pressure on a guy who historically gets hurt every other week is a bold strategy, Cotton. But what the Clippers are doing is just playing great defense and hoping that somebody like Norm Powell or James Harden can get off and win them the game offensively. I don't hate the strategy, but you are putting, like I said, a lot of pressure on Kawhi Leonard's return and hoping that he could take you over the top, when in all reality, what is over the top for this Clippers team? I don't know. That's a question for another day. We're doing panic meter, not should this team sell at the midseason point. Golden State, bro, they couldn't have started any better this season. Honestly, they couldn't have started this season any better. They got dusted by the Cavs, don't get me wrong, but they're beating the brakes off of everybody else, and Steph Curry looks fantastic. MVP form again. You know, they have so many guys playing with a lot of confidence, and it seems like playing under Steve Kerr and with Steph Curry really does something for a bunch of role players where they play with just more confidence. Wiggins looks kind of back too, so you know that there's room for this team to get better. But as for right now, they're playing the best basketball that you could have imagined. And if you're unhappy with the Warriors start, you're just hating, bro. I don't know what else to tell you. They're in a fine spot. Another team that I said would be fun was the Detroit Pistons. I said the Detroit Pistons would be a fun basketball team. And let's pull up their last 5 games, and I'll show you how fun that they've been. All right. So this is the preseason finale, and they lose by 6, get blown out by the Cavs, play a tough game against Boston, play a tough game against Miami, a tough win against Philadelphia. They get dusted by here, but look at these last few games. They beat the Lakers, but then they lose by 1 to the Hornets. They win by 1 against the Hawks. They lose by 2 against the Rockets. They win by 2 against the Heat. They lose by 7 in overtime against the Bucks. I mean, this is pinnacle fun basketball. They make you like watch the last 10 minutes of the game. I will sit down and watch an entire fourth quarter. If I haven't watched the rest of the Pistons game, you know, if I'm at work and their game starts at 7 or something like that, I'll miss the start time. But most of the time, by the time I'm checking their score, it's a tie game going into the third, going like middle third. So then I'm like, yeah, I'm tuning in because this shit's coming down to the wire. And the Pistons in like 4 years, 3 maybe, will be fun. And they should have beat the Bucks if Ron Holland could make a damn free throw. He didn't deserve to be there, but guess what? You got to make him anyways, and he missed both. And the announcer for the Pistons broadcast was right. Step off the line. Once you miss the first one ugly, step off the line. Sacramento Kings, you know? Honestly, one more move. No, I don't know where to put them. Cool as ice. You know what? For a team that I thought could genuinely not make the playoffs this year, that was just me being mean, not being mean, but that was my honest outlook on them, is that this is a competent team that can miss the playoffs just because of how good the West is and how bad defensively they are. But they seem to have kind of figured out how to play a little bit of defense while being a above league average offense, and it's resulting in pretty good win-loss ratio. I think they're 7-5 right now. You know, they've been playing fine basketball, and Fox and Sabonis can put together an elite offense. And what I like about the DeMar addition was what's his name? The announcer. It's not Mark Jones, is it? I think it's Mark Jones, actually, the one who calls Kings game. He said it the other night. He said that the panacea of when the Kings are struggling is to give the ball to DeMar and get him in. He gets fouled. Him draw a foul, or Fox draw a foul. You know, they're really good at stopping runs just by getting to the line and, you know, being able to set up their defense after a made free throw. Of course, their defense isn't great, but you stand a better chance when your defense is set up versus, you know, when teams are running against you. You get that. Nothing more I can say about these next two. I'm clumping them together. Cool as ice. The Celtics, not in the best spot, but you got to understand that teams come at them 100% because they're the reigning champs. You know, on a night where it's the team you played is the Pistons, or no, the Nets. The Nets, they just played on a 2 out of the last 3 games, I think, against. And the Nets are a young team that looks at the Boston Celtics and think, yo, if we can beat them, this is the upset of the year. So that is their finals, you know what I mean? For a tanking team, upsetting the reigning champs who have aspirations of still being the next champs this year, you know, that's huge for them. And you know, so other teams are coming at them and they're trying to they're getting the best effort out of every team. They're still surviving that. The one thing I want to see is no more Luke Cornett, I said Cornet. No more Luke Cornet. Abolish Luke Cornet. Serbia, Yugoslavia, Russia, China, foreign basketball. That's where he belongs. Neemias Queta should be the backup big behind Al Horford while Porzingis is hurt, obviously. Cleveland, not much to say, bro. What do you want me to say about the Cavs? They're good. They're really good. Darius Garland, really good. Darius Garland has been probably their biggest catalyst for why they're undefeated so far, in my opinion. Maybe I'm tripping balls, but he's been so good, and the team as a whole has been amazing. I mean, you know, everyone's talking about them. How long can this undefeated streak go? Keep going. Have some fun with it. The Cavs historically, unless LeBron James has been on the team, have been a pretty bad team. Let's be honest with each other. Other than when LeBron was on the roster, their only other contending like window was that window where it was Mark Price, Brad Daughtry, Craig Elo, all them boys. And that was over 20 years ago. So, you know, maybe let them have some fun. And yeah, without LeBron, they're on this long win streak, and it's been so fun to watch. I enjoy Cavs games. Go Cavs. Except for when they play the Celtics. If they play the Celtics, then it's you. Philly. Ooh, surely they get hot, right? They're getting Embiid back. They're getting Paul George back. They're injured. I mean, I don't know what to say. I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know. So hopefully when they get healthy, for their fans' sake, they can make a little run out of it. But as for right now, they are the big 2-9. So, you know, Andre Drummond's bad. Yabusele is better than Drummond. That's a hot take I'm throwing out there, but it doesn't really matter anyways. You could start Yabusele or Drummond, and you still probably lose the game without Embiid. And Paul George has been playing like ass too. So, you know, I don't know what to say about Philly. We'll talk about Charlotte. They didn't have any expectations, but they have been super duper duper fun. Where are they? 4-7, but it doesn't feel like a 4-7 team. This feels like a team that's more fun to watch than 4-7. You know, they obviously got blown out by the Magic in a game where Franz went off. Close loss to the 76ers. Close win against the Hornets. You know, played a great back-to-back against the Celtics. Those were fun games to watch. And the Hornets have just been that fun team to watch, you know? So, shout out to them. Wizards, tanking, pretty obvious. Jordan Poole just had 40 randomly. That's cool, but the main story to me is Bilal. I talked about him in my last video. Bilal Coulibaly is a fun player. Orlando, they got to get right. Just Paolo being out hurts them so much. Cole Anthony's bad now. That's random. That's a random one to me, is that Cole Anthony just became bad this year. You know, but shout out to Orlando. KCP still hasn't figured it out yet, but they play tough defense. It's just they can't shoot still. Jalen Suggs had a good game the other night, so good shout out to him. Oh, also shout out Tristan da Silva. Pre-draft, I said Tristan da Silva was one of my favorite players in the class, like in my top 5 players that I liked in this draft class, and he looks productive so far. So, you know, good pick. Miami. Whoa, no, we're not doing this. I'm done with the Heat. I'm so tired of the Miami Heat. I'm beyond over them. Bam Adebayo is nowhere to be found. Jimmy Butler's hurt. Tyler Hero has been amazing. Shout out to Tyler Hero. What is it? Raph Tyler. I can't stand the guy, but, you know, good for him for hooping. You know, it sucks that his best game ever was ruined by his coach. I can't stop laughing at that. He was so pissed he called a timeout he didn't have. That's hilarious to me. Yeah, I enjoy watching Heat fans cry. Atlanta, no expectations, so nobody really gave a damn about the Hawks. Let's be honest. And without Trae Young against Boston, they look super good. Like Dyson Daniels, Dyson Daniels is damn near must-watch TV at this point, just because of how many deflections and steals and poke. He is so annoying, and it's just fun to watch. Even what's it, Keaton? I think it is Keaton Mitchell. He's been also pretty good as well. I think, no, it's gotta be. Is it? No, it's Keaton Wallace. There we go. Keaton Mitchell. Who the? I'm thinking Kenyon Mitchell. I'm thinking, bro, I got, Quinyon Mitchell, and I don't know, a lot of names. All right. So yeah, shout out to the Hawks. You know, they've been fine, treading water. Indiana Pacers. They gotta do something, right? Halliburton's been bad, like pretty bad. Benedict Matherin's been a revelation that I like to see. He's been great. He stole Neesmith's starting spot. Pascal's been great. Miles Turner. He got a couple of blocks here and there, but you also get games where he'll hit 6 threes and then 0 threes. That's the Miles Turner spectrum. But the biggest issue is Hallie being bad, and I'm not sure if that's ever going to change because they're saying it's a back injury or a hamstring injury or this injury or this injury. I don't know. I don't know what it is. The only one who knows why he's struggling is Tyrese Halliburton. Remember after like the first or second game of the year, he was like, yeah, it's Steph's fault. He told me to nap before games. So I'm going to stop napping before games, and that should fix it. It didn't. It didn't. So, you know, I don't know what to do about Hallie. That's a situation that I really don't know what to do about. Let me know down in the comments how you guys feel about your favorite teams. And let me know what your guys' panic meter is, or if you think that your team should have gone in a different place on the TierMaker altogether. All right, if you enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, share, sub. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to catch the games. See you guys in the next one.